Hello everyone, it's Mr. Wheelwright here, Deputy Head Teacher at the Minster School. First of all, thank you for showing an interest in applying to the Minster School Sixth Form. This is a short video, just a few minutes long, designed to help you through the process of applying for a place, to explain the various documents that you need to be aware of, what you need to do, what you need to fill in, who you need to send it to, and so on. Hopefully you've got the documents in front of you. If you haven't, they'll be in your application pack, or alternatively you can find copies of them on the Minster School website. So if you go to the website at the bottom of the screen and click on the Sixth Form tab, the documents are there along with lots of other information about our Sixth Form. If you have any questions at all about the application process, my colleague Miss Toms will be able to help you with that. Her email address is also at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to disappear from the next slide onwards, but I'll be here to talk you through the process, and hopefully that'll be useful in making your application as smooth as possible. So key documents, as you can see there are three of them. First of all, the Sixth Form admissions arrangements in 2021 that's highlighted in red. There isn't anything to fill in on that document, but we will have a look at it and talk it through in just a moment. The other two are documents that you either will or may need to submit. The option choices form, everybody needs to submit that form, and I'll talk that through just towards the end. And the other one, the Sixth Form application form, you may need to fill in and submit if you are applying to us from another school. So there's a couple of important dates for you to pay attention to. The first, which is by far the most important, Friday the 27th of November. That's just in a few weeks' time, and that's when we ask for all applications to be in by. Straight away after that date, we'll begin creating next year's timetable and looking at the combination of subjects that we need to be able to offer students. So getting your application in by that date means that you're far more likely to get the combination, the mix of subjects that you want to study. We will accept applications after that date, and that's up to Friday the 1st of October 2021, which seems like a long time away. After that date, it won't be possible to join the Sixth Form in Year 12 next year. So the first document that we're going to have a look at is the Sixth Form admissions arrangements for 2021, the first page of which is on the right hand side of the screen. There's a couple of things to note here. The first of which is that if you are currently a Year 11 student at the Minster School, then you are guaranteed a place in the Sixth Form, as long as you meet the academic entry requirements. They're outlined in the prospectus, but essentially it's the 5 9 to 4 grades at GCSE, including English and Maths. If you're applying to the Sixth Form from another school, so if you're an external applicant, there's then some oversubscription criteria which we use to award places in the event that we are oversubscribed, and they're outlined in points A to F. Underneath that heading. Now, just to reassure you, we do have 200 places in the Sixth Form each year, and it's very, very rare that we need to use this criteria. Of course, we do need to have it there just in case. So that criteria includes, first of all, a point A being a looked after child or a child who was previously looked after. Point B is if you have a sibling at the Minster School. Points C, D and E are about religious observance, and then point F covers any other child not meeting any of the previous criteria. So have a look at a couple of those in a little bit more detail in a moment or two. That refers to the next document that we'll have a look at. The second and third pages, which we're not going to talk through, then include the process by which that criteria is applied, some definitions of the terms that are used, and the appeals process. So we're now moving on to the Sixth Form application form. Important to note here, as it says in red, that this is for external applicants only. So if you are currently in Year 11 at the Minster School, you do not need to complete or submit this form. So if you are an external applicant, there's a couple of things to note on this form. The first of which is that there's a reminder of the application deadline and the ways to submit. So in terms of submitting your application, it needs to be received at the reception area. That's either via post, so you can hand it in to school, or you can email it to my colleague Miss Toms, and her email address is there. And there's a reminder of the application deadline again. The second element is pretty straightforward. That's then your details, so contact details, your address, and so on and so forth. And then the third element for you to fill in is at the bottom. That's the details of your current school. There's also on this page, about halfway up there, information about travel subsidy arrangements, and there's a website for you to visit if that will apply to you. We're now onto the second page of the Sixth Form application form, and again a reminder, this is for external applicants only. The first thing to note is that you may need to fill in this section here, where it says tick one or both statements. And this is the beginning of where it helps us to apply that oversubscription criteria in the unlikely event that we don't have enough places for the number of applicants. So the first thing is that you can tick if there will be a sibling on the school roll at the time of entry to Year 12. So that's another child at school that is a sibling of the student who's applying to the Sixth Form. You can tick that. The second thing then is that one parent or the student currently worships at a Church of England church, There's further information below, and there's definitions of that back on the admissions arrangements document. So you either tick one or both of those statements if they apply to you. There's then a note regarding the closure of places of worship which has been added for this year. We're obviously aware that during the current coronavirus pandemic and the restrictions, many places of worship have been closed for kind of active worship rather than private prayer. So there is a note there just outlining that that won't disadvantage anybody where that applies. The next section, this is to be completed by the Minister of Religion or the religious leader. So the bit that you fill in is on the next page we'll look at in just a moment too. Once that's been filled in, it needs to go to your Minister of Religion or religious leader, and effectively they are signing there to say that the details on the rest of the form are accurate and correct. The final section is simply where you sign and date before submitting that document. There is another note there that says that if you'd like confirmation, if you're submitting via post or handing in, if you'd like confirmation of the receipt of the application, there's an enclosed card with a postage stamp fixed to it, then that's part of your application pack if you'd like to receive a confirmation that we've received your application. So we're now on the third page of the sixth form application form. Again, just a reminder, this is for external applicants only, and you only need to complete this third side if you tick the second box on the previous page, which is about religious observance. So here, very simply in the first section, you need to fill in the name of the church attended and the name of the incumbent, and then you need to tick the box that's applicable in this section. The difference between the first two is simply whether you live either in the catchment area or outside the catchment area, and then the third box is relating to the idea that you're not a communicant, although you do attend a Church of England church regularly. Just a reminder, you also need to then, once this has been completed, ask your Minister of Religion or religious leader to sign on the previous page before you send your form. So it's worth bearing in mind the application deadline of the 27th of November. Make sure that you do give them time to complete that before that deadline. The third and final document that we're going to look at is the options choice form, and all students, whether you're currently in Year 11 at the Minster School or an external applicant, need to submit this as part of your application. So the first section here is your details, and that includes some contact details, and we'll use those details to make a formal offer of a place in the new year, as well as then sending you further information on induction and enrolment and other things to do with joining our sixth form in September. Underneath that, there's the list of the subjects that we offer, and then you need to use those to fill in this section here about your subject choices. Now do please note, this is not 3 subjects in a random order. Do please put down your 3 main subjects in the order of preference that you have. So your first main choice is subject choice 1, and then 2, and then 3. Just to the right of that, you need to choose either extended project or core maths. If you'd like some further information on those, you can either contact us or that's available in the prospectus. And then you need to make a decision about whether you want to opt into the Sports Leadership Award, and that's a simple yes or no. If you're one of the small number of students who may be interested in studying 4 main subjects in the sixth form, because that will help you access a particular university course or career, you do need to talk to Mr. Samuels, our Director of Post-16 Studies, first before filling that in. Underneath that, there's a section in case you want to draw anything to our attention in terms of queries or comments for us to follow up on. And then underneath that, we need a student signature and a parental signature. And underneath that, there's another reminder of the application deadline and the ways to submit that either via email or by post. I hope you found this useful. Just a quick summary of some of the key points we covered. When making an application, all students need to submit an options choice form, with any external applicants submitting in addition the sixth form application form, and your applications can be submitted either via email or by post using the addresses that we've looked at. The application deadline is Friday the 27th of November. If you would like any further support or help in submitting your application, then do please get in touch and we'll be happy to help you, and we look forward to receiving your application soon. Thank you.